This is the Brilliantly Branded podcast, a safe place to have a voice and talk about branding and all the reasons that bring a brand to be brilliantly branded. I am your host, Maria Lucia Romero, a woman empowering other women, and I am welcoming you to this journey of learning and inspiration to build awareness around the world of business and the world of brands. This is the Brilliantly Branded podcast. I have had the opportunity to bring exceptional guests, and this time is not an exception. In our episode today, we have another powerful woman, full of authenticity and inspiration, seeking for the position of president in Iceland for the next elections in June 2024. She is Sigridur Hrund, who shares her incredible journey to becoming a presidential candidate, sharing with us the insights on how we can all come together to create positive change in the world. She speaks passionately about the power of love, grace, gratitude, hope, joy, and service, emphasizing the importance of unity and collaboration. We got a very touching conversation where she opens up about her personal struggles, including battling postnatal depressions, and share how she overcame adversity through self-care and resilience. She also highlights the significance of mental health, respect, and kindness in building a better society. She is definitely very inspirational. So don't miss out this episode and learn from her valuable takeaways on personal growth, overcoming challenges, and as well in how she built a personal brand as a public figure. So put out your headphones and get comfortable to be inspired by this insightful conversation. As well, don't forget to share and inspire others. You never know who will receive this message at the right time to make improvement in their lives. What goes around comes around, so welcome one more time to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. Today we have the honor of hosting a remarkable guest whose journey embodies the essence of hope and solidarity. So our guest today is Sigridur Hrund, a woman leader with the role of presidential candidate of Iceland. Sigridur is on a mission to bring positive change and empowerment for all. A role model that I wanted to bring to the podcast because of that I know that we all are going to learn and feel inspired. Through her candidacy, Sigridur aims to serve a lot of people, especially the vulnerable, with care and compassion. She will give us more details later on. So just let's discover the story behind this powerful woman and her values and the lessons that she has learned in this journey toward empowerment. So first and foremost, welcome Sigridur, and I wanted to start asking you, well, you are a mom, you are an entrepreneur, and one of the presidential candidates for Iceland. So this is really challenging roles, all of those. So could you tell us a bit more about yourself and what inspired you to start on this journey?
Thank you. First, Maria Lucia, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. I'm honored, and it's my pleasure to take this talk. I think it's very vital that we spotlight each other, so we tell our stories, because we learn through stories. And if I share my story, people will be inspired. And I have a lot of roles. I'm an entrepreneur for the last decade. I transitioned from being an employee, and I have worked all kinds of jobs, low-end service jobs, many jobs, especially when we were founding our family together, etc., up to high-end jobs, and also being independent. So my husband is a carpenter, Baldur, and we have been together for 30 years. And we have 4 children. We have twins, 20, a boy 14 and a girl 10.
Wow.
And it's quite a journey. Yeah, and we couldn't have children. Think about that.
Wow.
The twins are in vitro, and then it just kept on coming.
That normally happens. Yes.
No more. No. I want the balance.
Yeah.
And about 7, 8 years ago, we founded a company together selling security materials for the construction industry. So I've been selling scaffolds and helmets and lines, etc., for almost a decade. And before that, I was working a lot in project management and cost estimation, quality management, etc., etc. Financing. I've been investing a lot and working with boys, I would say, a lot of male-dominated sectors. And about 5 years ago, I decided I wanted to grow. And I stepped into a great association here in Iceland called the Association of Women Business Leaders. And we're actually 1,500 women.
Wow.
Spread around the country, and I presented myself as a candidate for the board, and I was elected, and I was the highest elected. I got the most votes. And 2 years later, I presented myself as the chair. So I won that too. I was chairwoman for 2 years. And it is an amazing opportunity to step into an all-female environment filled with experiences and stories. And of course, we don't agree or anything, but we are in solidarity of supporting each other. And the thing is, in Iceland, 20% of the population is immigrant. So we have a lot of immigrant women coming, and this is happening all over the world. We have migrational forces. So my concern was that how would we support each other so we wouldn't have this brain drain? You know, when you come into a new country and you want to be an expert or you are an expert, but you cannot find your niche. You can't get in. And do you know the sport curling? It's a sport on ice.
Okay.
And okay, so there is a sport team that is trying to get a puck to a center. And very close to the center, there's a woman with a broom, and she's heating up the ice so the puck is going to get near the goal. And
So
I'm the
cleaning the
woman on
way.
the broom. Yeah. You know, my team would be over there, and I would be on the broom paving the way for them. So that is kind of my expertise. It is pave making. And like a telephone operator, I am especially good at connecting people, connecting sectors, and creating. I have a spark of creativity. So, you know, I just see opportunities all the way, even if it's difficult or challenging. And I think it's also because I'm working in the construction industry. Construction industry is such that you always have to find a solution. You have to build that house, and you can't stop building that house in the middle of everything. You got a lot of people working. It costs a lot of money. So this has been my journey, both with males and females. And I decided after I was serving for the association and that I would use my potential to the fullest. And that meant that I would try to launch the bow. And I'm talking about when you have a bow and you're aiming and the arrow flies. Okay, so I'm going to explain this also as a story. When you are taking the bow and you are, pulling it back, you have to pull back. And that means that you have to go and figure out who you are and what you stand for. You have to find yourself. And when you do, because you will not do that except you keep quiet and you go within, it's all within you. You can't search in the exterior about who Maria Lucia is. It is all within herself. It's your light. I did that. And then you have to aim. And the higher you aim, the higher the arrow is going to fly. But this is also a question, do you want to go far or do you want to go high? Not all of us want to be CEOs, okay? And not all of us want to have a cramped day full of work. So you have to decide where you want to be. And I got a calling from my heart. My heart said, you're really good at this. And as the presidency in Iceland is such that it is non-political, you don't have to be in a political party. You can be only 35 years of age and then an Icelandic citizen, and that is enough. There is no other written criteria. So I come for all of us. I come for democracy, freedom of speech, equity, and I know that I stand on the shoulders of people that came before me, and they lift me up. I have their strength, and I'm also kind of soft, powerful, and that is specifically feminine.
What is this about? This soft...
It is the multiplicators. I call it the multiplicators because it's free and it's very powerful, and it's grace, gratitude, hope, joy, of course, and love. Because when you have love, you always have the attitude of service. How can I help you? How can we do this together? And that is what is going to unite us all. That is to have an open heart and have multiplicators.
Yeah.
And I think we can all decide to create the world that we want to live in. And we need to get it together. So this is basically my learning curve, which is such, it is straight up.
Yeah.
And what is interesting also, because I'm doing something today that I didn't do yesterday, and that is the fact for every day now. I create my journey. I write my own story. So I decide not to listen to anything negative. I always talk positive. I encourage people to talk positive, to think and talk and act in love, and to give in, rise up and rise above. So yes, that is who I am and where I am right now.
Yeah, well, it's really something to learn a lot about that, because serving others, but at the same time knowing how to serve yourself first, that it was one of the things that I consider very important. And you and I have this conversation before. And I would like to ask you actually the fact to serve yourselves first, how that influenced your approach to leadership, for example.
I think today, especially with technology, which can be very helpful, but it can be very draining. We have a lot of data bombarding us, and I'm not saying information, not even. And, you would have data, information, and knowledge, and possibly wisdom. We're still in the data form. And I can see this when I'm reading the news. I get a lot of news, but I love reading like sectored news, and I would say Le Monde or BBC or something where you can go and find your information. When you're working and in all this environment with, the phones, this is getting very painful. It drains us. And we take a lot of energy trying to figure out what is useful for me and what is not. Okay. And this is the truth all over. So I think it's very important that you take care of yourself first. And you do that by actually seeking quiet, actually just seeking peace in your heart. And I will just tell you what I do. I live in Trinities. So I am body, mind, and soul, and I treat them equally. I don't only treat my body, so I don't only have physical activity. I have body, mind, and soul. And what I do is that I rest, I exercise, and try exercising your soul or resting your soul. This is important.
This is so beautiful.
And then I nourish. So I nourish my spirit, I nourish my soul. And I will take an example. I like to swim in cold water. And we're talking about, I live in Iceland and it's pretty cold.
I can
And when I
imagine.
go do that, my body is just like, I don't want to be here. I
Yes.
don't like this. And my spirit says, this is healthy. You know, I know it's healthy and I know we can do it. But my soul says, this is wonderful. Oh, get away, body. You know, this is just pure joy. So
Yes.
these are the things that I use to keep myself growing and healthy and stable. And service, if I service me, you know, in the airplane, when you put oxygen on you and then the others, this is
Yes.
the same concept. So take care of yourself and don't seek others to be whole for yourself. And then you have abundance. You have abundance to give.
Yeah, wow, that is I'm so grateful to having you here because all the things that you have been just said, I agree with all of those and feeling inspired as well at the same time. And one of the things that you mentioned before that I know that in some point you will love to talk about that is solidarity. Solidarity is something that have been very important for you, and I really would like you to share with us and with our audiences what is this about, giving us more details about that, please.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was in Paris the other weekend speaking at an international women convention. We're about 200, 250 women gathered together, and it was amazing. And I had a talk about the importance of solidarity. And I asked them, what does it mean for you? When you ask yourself, what does solidarity mean for you? And I got answers like community,
Yeah.
oneness, and kindness. We would be helping each other. And the word village came up. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. And I think that if you have solidarity, we're not talking about agreement. But I'm not agreeing with everything you say, but I'm standing by you. And we have this commonality and respect for basic values. And I would be talking about human rights. For instance, I think we all want a decent life. I think we all want the best for all of us. If you think about the village, you want a very good village where everybody can have their human rights, where they can have a freedom of speech, because then I know how you feel, and we all want to feel good, right?
Yes.
And then I said, I was asking the conference, where do we grow our solidarity? Because it's not innate. You have to choose it. When you go to the kindergarten, the children are not going to stick, to each other. They're going to say, this is my water, don't touch it.
Yeah,
right?
it's natural. Yeah.
That is natural. That's the natural reaction. So we have to choose solidarity.
Oh.
And that is the power of choice. And then we have to be conscious about what we're doing. And I emphasize, I almost preach about this. You have to be conscious about choosing solidarity and being respectful for other people's opinion, but trying to find this commonality. The commonality is the human race. There is only one race, that is the human race. And the status is such that women are half the brains and hands on this planet. And it's imperative that we not only get equality, but equity in the world. So the solidarity is kind of a key to get there. Okay, so I really go to the basis of solidarity, what it means and how we're going to get there, and the choice, the power of the choice.
Yeah.
This will be my Carthaginian speech every time. A solidarity of women first, and solidarity for women means that we as women are choosing to stand by each other everywhere, regardless.
Yeah.
And the man, they're saying, I'm in, because it's
Yeah.
we. It's not
Yeah.
us versus them, but it's we together, the human race.
Yeah, well, I think one of the most important thing is understand how solidarity is a choice. It's not something that you have born with that and it's natural. It's something that you decide to go for it. And knowing that, I mean,
Absolutely.
having been aware about that is already something very big. And
Absolutely.
actually, in life, part of the thing is that happening to all of us is the challenges. So those challenges, we are faced of those challenges and make us bigger or not bigger, or continue struggle based if we overcome those in certain ways. So I would love to know a little bit what have been most of the biggest challenges in life that probably you have been facing.
Instantly, I would say postnatal depression.
Oh,
I've had 3 births. I had twins first and then solo. And every time I got postnatal depression. So I gave birth to my children over a decade, and almost 8 years I was sick. And my husband says when we got postnatal depression, which means that it says everything about him, of course, but it
yes.
means also I was never alone. And this is hell. This is excruciating. It means that you have, let's take an example. When I gave birth to my 14-year-old, I have the twins. They are almost 5, and I'm giving birth to a baby boy, and I have no joy. I have
Mm,
no joy of my 3 children,
yeah.
and I have no joy for myself. I have no wish to live. And I don't know how I got through it, but I got through it.
Mhm.
And the challenge of overcoming yourself to go through challenges, not around, not on top, but just go through the pain and suffering and learn, because we grow through learning, right? Everything that grows has to go through pain. And think about a butterfly. When you have a larva, the pupa, and then you have the butterfly, each stage is painful. And you have to allow yourself to go through it. Then there is the thing. There is the wound and the poison. So you might have a wound, and that is painful, but it's your choice if you let the poison run.
Yeah.
That is the difference. So the wound will grow, or you will have a scar, but often we have to make the choice of, I am not going to have this poison in my body. I'm
Yeah.
not going to take this trauma with me, just upon the experience. And I have used this for the good to the society. So I have talked very openly about mental health.
Yeah.
I think mental health is crucial for us, especially after COVID,
Yeah.
because we lost a lot of the human touch. And you know what it felt like. We
Mm.
really like humans interacting. It's a vital part of our lives.
It's
And the
vital.
thing is, Maria Lucia, we all have a backpack that we don't share or we don't show each other.
Yeah.
And these can be our experiences or trauma. And it is absolutely not our job to make this backpack heavier on each other.
Yeah.
And preferably, if we can take it and make it lighter. And I do that regularly. I take my backpack and I say, what am I going to carry with me? Because it's carrying. It's
Mhm.
making you a bit heavy or mindful of your experiences. And some of the things I just take out and say, I don't need this anymore. I don't need to carry this.
Well, have the power to decide that is already a big power. Because, yeah, it's true. We decide many things in our life, but sometimes don't heal these wounds that probably we are growing up with, and don't taking the time to working in ourselves to really overcome that, and don't make those wounds very outside, that the people are going to really put it more fire, more poison, as you will said, is sometimes not that easy to choose, to have as a choice. But anyways, I think that part of the things that help us is choosing what we wanted to do, and creativity is one of the things that we spoke about as well last time. You say something so beautiful about creativity, and it's creativity without fear is not worthy. So I would like you to elaborate a little bit more about that in order for let our audiences to know what is this is about.
I'm just gonna finish the one thing I forgot about the traumas, etc. Be kind. Yeah. So let's be kind, and that is the respect we give each other, ourselves and each other. Yes, creativity. Creativity is very important, and especially important now because the world is changing very fast, and even more fast than we can catch up with.
Yeah.
And we need solutions. We need secure, creative solutions. And the thing is, I've been teaching innovation and creativity for children for about 6 years. And there are three rules in my seminar. It is, we are safe. We're always safe. So we're not doing anything that is dangerous. And you are safe to be. You're safe to speak as you want, and you are safe to be regardless. Doesn't matter if you have ADHD or, if you are overjoyous or quiet or whatever.
Yeah.
We're very curious. That is number 2. You have to be curious. And that means I have your eyes. I can see you're curious. And you're like, what is that? What are you talking about? And then we have joy. And it's a choice. And I tell them, because they come to me in class and maybe the day is difficult and they are feeling heavy. And I say, do you want to be here? Yes, I do. Okay. If you're not with us, just take a moment and you come when you're ready. So it's again about the choice. We're talking a lot about the choice. And then come and have fun, because otherwise it's not going to be fun for anybody. And the thing is, I create a zone for them where there is no fear. Because when you have fear, you're going to diminish your light. And you're going to make everything smaller and cramped. And you cannot grow anything there. It is like growing a flower in darkness without water, okay? And without having the earth to grow from. So we really have to be careful of letting the fear go. And I think freedom of speech is one of those very, very baseful things that we have to catch and be mindful about, so people can express themselves and feeling secure about, my opinion is valid. Okay? Because if you hear everybody's stories and different stories and you stir the pot, you're going to foster something interesting, something very exciting. And I like that about the telephone booth I was telling you about, when you cross interact, around sectors and ages, origins, the demographics, you get creativity going. So this is what I constantly talk about. It is eliminating the fear, or just take it out of the backpack for a while and pretend this is a safe zone and just do it. Let me know what you think and how you feel, especially how you feel.
Oh, well, yeah. One of the things is actually the fear of judgment and the fear of rejection. And these couple of things, is a lot of people that decide to don't have this voice or voicing what they are feeling, because it's the fear of what that person is going to think about me. And that is something that I have been all the time trying to generate this awareness about that fear that is really not helping us at all. It's not helping us at all.
Open the door, let it out, and close the door. Have some coffee and chocolate. Seriously.
Exactly.
Lock it
That is
out
the
and say goodbye. Thank you for coming. I didn't enjoy our session, but
yeah,
see
exactly.
you never.
It's actually many times is how people is showing their own fears and putting their own fears on you. That this is another point, is you are asking for something or brainstorming, and then you realize, well, I never had that feeling, but others people's fears end up affecting you as well. So
Very true.
removing that, yeah, I mean, it is very, very difficult, but I am really grateful that we arrived to this topic of fear. And as well as you well know, the podcast is just for women empowerment through the lens of branding. I'm
Hmm.
actually talking a little bit about your personal brand, coming from being marketer yourself in a business, in construction business, as you well said, and now changing to running for the presidency of Iceland. So how have you been making those changes in your brand, in your personal brand, to really start to looking like a public figure?
Oh, wow. Well, the bow is, struck very high and very far to the stars and beyond, and release. So I am fearless, first of all,
Yeah, I
which
can see.
means that my heart is full of love. It's full of joy. And I can only be myself. And I have to know myself. And I took time to get to know myself. And I really like myself. This is my resurrection. This is my painting. I love
Yeah,
that painting.
I love that.
I know. And there's a reason I decided to be here to remind us, just to release and give in and be powerful. We are so powerful. We're so capable. Also to enjoy. This is a ride. This is a journey. This is not a destination. And I have faith. So when I don't have fear, I have faith. And I go by faith. I trust myself. And I don't have the need to control the situation or control what is going to happen. It's more like enjoying the experience of being, because we are human beings. We're not human doings. I think, as I'm talking, that I'm a humanist. I'm a humanist entrepreneur. So I
Yeah.
am both very strong and very mild at the same time. It's like yin and yang. And I think the branding is very important, that you know who you are and give yourself time to figure that out. And I actually took a look at people, not just women, people that I admired. And I'm not talking about high successful people, but I'm talking about Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, Jesus, Michelle Obama,
Yeah.
people that inspired me, and how they presented themselves and how they stayed true to themselves and gave them the chance of experiencing themselves and learning and forgiving yourself. The self mildness is also one of the key ingredients. And that will bring you the branding that is in coherence with yourself. When what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Precisely, this is me. This is the future president of Iceland.
Yes.
Okay, so you really have to be what you want to become, because otherwise you will never become it. So
Yeah.
I decided when I was going running that I would just act as a president, and I would act as the president that I want to be, that I want my nation to have.
Yeah.
And that didn't mean wrapping it up or anything, but it meant that I had to conquer myself. And then I had to learn certain things. I had to, know I'm very good at text writing. I'm very creative. I'm very good at spotting the opportunities, but I had to learn how to come and talk with people, interact with people. I had to go and be at a couple of seminars and give talks to a lot of people. I had never done that in my work. Selling scaffolds is not talking to 250 people in English. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to gather the competences and practice and telling people about it, just letting them experience my journey, because seeing somebody grow is also very educative. So when you're branding, allow yourself to find the role models and spotlight the role models that give you courage, that inspire you, etc. And give yourself time to enjoy this journey. This is a process. This is not, and this can be a marathon. It can be a long ride.
Yeah, correct. I mean, authenticity is what have been defined it as.
I love authenticity. I mean, it is going to be, we need authenticity.
Yes.
The world needs authentic people that are not afraid. They need me.
Yeah.
And we need to be totally honest about this and say it as it is and cherish. Thank you so much for being who you are and showing me that.
Yeah, and leading by example, of course. Yeah, I have been experimented in many ways to see how leaders are positioning themselves just because they are who they are. They don't need even to speak. They are spreading this joy, this example that you said, as you will give the example of, for example, Michelle Obama. She is a role model, and you said, "Well, I'm feeling inspired about that." It's incredible how that kind of things happen. And starting to wrap up a little bit, I have just two questions. One is, what will be your advice and recommendations that you can offer to our listeners that are passionate to creating a positive change? Because we are here talking about how we are going to really start changing the world. That it was actually your first message to me. Let's change the world. So doing something about that. What would you advise to women, men, all genders in general?
I would say that, and this is, again, if you have read Michelle Obama, she has written a book about the light within. And this is true. So realize that we are all unique. We're all precious and rare. And we should treat each other as such. Treat yourself as such. Life is a gift. We all have a light within, and it is your purpose to let it shine, bring it out to the fullest. And I'm not talking about multiplying by 1,000. Try multiplying yourself by 100,000. And when you have reached that, try 1,000,000 and then 1,000,000,000. Okay. And you should also turn on other people's light. That is your purpose too, as we are doing now. We just need to open our hearts fully in faith and love. And I think that is very important. And I say this all the time, love prevails. And it will prevail through all religion and through all time. And that is because we choose it. We choose to be kind. We choose to think kind. We choose to talk kind. We choose to act in kindness. And I think this is crucial because it means that we are going to gather this village together, very respectful village. Don't you like that?
Yeah.
This is our house. And in our house, there is plenty of space and there is abundance. And I'm not talking about money. I am talking about the multiplicators I was talking about. I'm talking about there is plenty of hope, there is plenty of joy and grace and gratitude and love. And if we stick to that, I believe that we can overcome anything together, because together is going to make it. I want to talk about snow just briefly. You know that every bit of snow is unique. Okay? And it is made of 6 sides, and that is the element of water. Okay?
Correct.
And if you have only 1 grain of snow, it is not going to do anything. It's going to melt in your hand or in your mouth when you try to eat it. But
Yes.
in solidarity, a snow blizzard, it can interrupt the society. Right. It can keep us stuck for months someplace.
Yeah.
It is the power of solidarity. So
Wow.
let's treat ourselves this way. We are unique, and together we're going to do amazing things.
Wow, that is a really amazing advice, and I think that doing this comparison with the snow is really, you see how powerful that is. And thank you for sharing that with us. And another very important thing for me is my last question is, what do you think people should know about Iceland and why they should come and visit your beautiful country?
Oh, well, we live close to Santa Claus for the first.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
I think that is a very good argument. I can take letters if you want.
Okay, fantastic.
I think Iceland is in the amazing position to be leading and molding for the world, because we are number 1 in equality for 14 years in a row.
Yes.
And that did not happen by coincidence. That is a choice, and it's a very strategic choice by our government and by the people. And we're just always practicing. It's not perfect here. It's not 50-50, but we're constantly practicing and talking about it. And we're also leading in sustainability and energy conversion. And I think that is very important. Think about us like in the big village, that we're a very dynamic, creative and joyful street. And that is precious. You know, when you go to that street in your city that you love,
Yes.
it is unique. When you step into the street, you're just like stepping into another world. And that is us. And I think it's very important that we stay that way. We stay true to ourselves. And you have to remember who you are and where you come from, because that is going to make you capable of knowing where you're going. Iceland is wonderful. It's peaceful. We don't have an army. And I can run because we are respecting the basic human rights of democracy.
Yeah.
I have freedom of speech, so I can talk freely here and, stand by my opinion. I think that is a true privilege.
It is.
So I feel very lucky to live here and be born here, and I will most probably die here. So come any time of the year. If you want to swim in the cold sea with me,
Yes. For sure, I'm going to be the number one, the first one that is going to say yes. Let's go and do that. Let's go to know Iceland. I haven't had the opportunity to be there yet, but I know that I will love to go there and see all these beautiful landscapes and things that you have in your country. So Sigridur, I'm so grateful that you have had the opportunity to share to us all those beautiful things, learn from you, feeling inspired, and actually start to put it in practice, all the things that are going to make us generate those changes. So thank you very much, Sigridur, for being here in the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I will say my final words are love prevails.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sigridur.
We hope you have been inspired by this content and join us for future episodes of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. We will continue exploring the power of branding and the stories behind successful brands. And remember, if you know a woman who has built a successful brand with a unique approach and a story to share, please refer them to our podcast. We would love to learn from their experiences and share their story with our listeners. Stay tuned for more episodes of Brilliantly Branded, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel for more branding insights and women empowerment. Until the next episode, ciao ciao.